My name is Cecily Kemp, and I am going to do a TOK presentation on simplicity. So I have given you like an, I guess, extract from the book, The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime, and I'd like you to read that. And there's a back too, and that's what has inspired my talk. So start with the black arrow on chapter like 139, I think. And then stop when you finish. Has everyone gotten a chance to read? Okay. So what I'm going to focus on is the back page, which comes right here. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but basically this is it. And it says, no more things should be presumed to exist than are absolutely necessary. And that can be interpreted in several different ways depending on how you look at it. But for this presentation, I'm going to interpret to mean the simplest answer is usually the most correct. So in the story, he says that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wanted to believe that these fairies were real, even though everyone admitted they were like a hoax and stuff, just because he wanted to believe really badly that he could talk to his dead son. So for him, his belief in that simple answer was the best for him. And so my question is, to what extent does simplicity aid in our understanding and certainty of truth? And to help understand what I'm asking by this, I'm going to give some examples of how simplicity usually works for people in understanding things in their lives. Like, before science was really, like, I don't know, the biggest explanation for things, people used supernatural explanations to explain what they could not comprehend with the knowledge they have. So that's an example. And some people understand things better with using metaphors to comparisons and stuff. But also there are simplified explanations in classrooms to help little kids understand. Like, I know when I was in elementary school, the teachers, like English teachers, always say, "Oh, this is always the rule." And later I realized that it's not always the rule, but that's just easier to explain to little kids and just accept that. But also from a psychology perspective, our brain automatically tries to organize and simplify everything we take in so that it doesn't have an overload, and they create schemas, which our framework of expectations of situations built on previous experience. So these are just some ways that simplicity seems to work better for our understanding of truth. And so I've watched like TED Talks, and these quotes came up in the TED Talks on how simplicity, And so Einstein is quoted saying, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. So he thinks that everything should be as simple as it can be, but still have its purpose. and functional. And then this Saint-Exupéry, the author of The Little Prince, he says, you know you've achieved perfection in design when you have nothing more to add, but when you have nothing more to take away. So that deals with simplicity of design and things like that, and it's kind of related to the Einstein quote. Also, I watched another TED Talk with John, which is, he's the president of Rhode Island School of Design, and he came to the conclusion that simplicity is more about living life with more enjoyment and less pain, which would, another function of simplicity. And through my research of simplicity, I have found that much simplicity, like how we apply it to the world, goes through design, simplicity in design, and so tools and everyday objects are usually the simplest ones are the most functional, and what George Whiteside says in his presentation is because these objects are simple and functional and they're cheap, we find more uses for them, so they can be applied to more things. And what happens is that they build up, they make a network of simple things that build up to more complex things, and so they make building blocks that you can stack on top of each other. And can you go back to the last slide? And so when I was thinking about this, how easier simplicity may be for us to understand things, I kept asking myself, like, is simplicity usually the best answer then? If it's so, it makes it so much easier for people to understand. And then that goes along with the question, is ignorance bliss? Because if we're not things to be complicated or complex, people seem like they think they'll be happy. And, okay, I now have a video. Tuesday. This one. And go to
Discovering are predictable. So I want to share with you a couple key insights about complexity we're learning from studying nature that maybe are applicable to other problems. First is just the simple power of good visualization tools to help untangle complexity and just encourage you to ask questions you didn't think of before. For example, you could plot the flow of carbon through a corporate supply chain in a corporate ecosystem, or the interconnections of habitat patches for endangered species in your habitat report. The next thing is that if you want to predict the effect of one species on another, if you focus on only that link and then you black box the rest, it's actually less predictable than if you step back, consider the entire system, all the species, all the links, and from that place, hone in on the sphere of influence that matters most. And we're discovering with our research that's often very local to the node you care about, within 1 or 2 degrees. So the more you step back and embrace complexity, the better chance you have of finding simple answers, and it's often different than the simple answer that you started with.
Okay, so for time's sake, I'm going to stop that there. And what I've also found in watching these videos is that simplicity is very, very tied to complexity. Like I said in the previous slide, the simple things, they build up to more complex things and understanding things in our world. So, and he says, we're discovering in nature that simplicity often lies on the other side of complexity. So for any problem, the more you can zoom out and embrace the complexity, the better chance you have zooming in on the simple details that matter the most. So it's basically like take a complex problem and break it down into simpler things, and that can help you much more to see the big picture. And so from this, I've concluded that simple can build up to complex, of course. In order for things to be complex, they must be comprised of separate simple things, but also